Okay, guys, we are back, okay? Straight second hour, Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna, my guest, Kristen Harper from Lake Havasu, and we have Andy Mastrocola from Wisconsin, and we are ready for the third guest, international guest, my first international guest from Oslo, Norway, Renzo Celani, and we will talk with him in a few minutes. Now, before we go there, it's very important. I would like to say one thing. Kristen, I was telling you during the break. First of all, thank you, MP Gun Sales, again, because freedom of speech is not free, and this show is supported by you, the listeners, of course, and the sponsors. So support our sponsors. When you need a gun, go visit them. They have a great website, mpguns.com. And just to let you know, go to visit them in person if you can. Or they're also on Facebook. Okay, so MP Gun Sales, support them. And more important, if you want to help myself, go to lovegunsfreedom.com. There is a section to support me with my music. I write songs. Today I refuse to play my songs because the time is short. With 99 cents, you can buy any of my hundreds of songs that I wrote and produced the last 14 years here. Okay, this is the situation. I received an email from a person that I know in the neighborhood of Kingman. Okay, her name is Denise, and I'll leave it like that. To make story short, that's what she says. Here is a list of all people that I know on my neighborhood that they had cancer since they live in Kingman. Our neighborhood is 10 years old, and this encompasses 2 blocks, about 60 homes. Most of people have lived here in this neighborhood for 8-10 years. Now, I give you an idea just how many people we have, okay? First of all, person number 1, male, 60, from California, prostate cancer 3 years ago. Female, 80 person from Havasu, lymphoma 3 years ago. Female, 70, origin from Nevada, breast cancer 1 year ago. Female, 58, Milwaukee, origin from Milwaukee, 1 year ago, into the eye cancer. Female, 70, breast, 3 years ago. Male, 70, kidney, 2 years ago. Male, 80, from Havasu originally, 1 month ago. Female, 64, originating from Washington, breast cancer, 2 years ago. Female, 70, from California, eye cancer, 2 years ago. Female, 63, New York, lung cancer, dead. Female, 80, lung cancer, 1 year ago, dead. Female, 50s, lung cancer, dead, 1 year ago. Male, 80s, cancer to the lungs. This is just an example of this part of the neighborhood. I'm talking about, I need to verify with my own eyes because, I put this out. I know this is legit. I know the person. But I need to see their medical records. I need to really investigate a little bit because if this is true, that there is a neighborhood in the area of Kingman, okay, where we're talking about 2 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then there is another 2 here, talking about at least 13 people diagnosed or dead because of cancer. Something must be going wrong in the environment, or something they must have in common that is not, statistics-wise. I need to read the statistics. What do you think about this, Kristen? What is your opinion?
I think there needs to be like an investigation done, see what's going on.
Yeah, because something's going on. Anyway, Andy, did you hear what I just said about this Kingman situation?
Yes, and it's common all across the country. All these small towns that have water fluoridation and treatment plants. You find high rates of cancer in all these small communities and in the big cities.
Yeah, and also, we don't know exactly. I don't want to just guess. I think it could be maybe a combination of different things, and also what there is in the air, because we talk a little bit about food, a little bit about water, and of course, everybody may have different genetic disposition, but there is so much now. The cancer rate increase in a level that make no sense, okay? And with the second guest that we have now, before I let Kristen go, we will talk about exactly what is going on in our skies, okay? Kristen, would you like to give your last information, how people can reach your email, address, whatever you want to give out?
Yes, you can go to my website, which is www.perfecthealthconsultingservices.com. You can also give me a call at 928-606-3984. You can also send me an email at Kristen, which is Kristen, at perfecthealthconsultingservices.com.
And I remind everybody, go to lovegunsfreedom.com, and on the Today Show, you will see her link, so you can pretty much find their website. Listen, Krista, thank you very much. I appreciate you being with me. If you want to stay with me, you can stay with me the rest of the hour. I will talk, of course, now we have Renzo Celani from Norway. We will focus with him a little bit, but you're welcome to stay here. Keep your headset, okay? Perfect. Hey, Andy, are you still there?
Yes, still here, and
Hey.
I'm still glad that Kristen wants to stay. 'Cause
Perfect.
I'd just like to ask her, I have the same problem as Luca Zanna does when it comes to food. I love my pizza and pasta. Now, being Mediterranean, we got to have a little glass of red wine in there once in a while. I think that's part of our DNA. That really shouldn't hurt us too much, should it?
No, I'm really strict 100%. You need to avoid all of it completely if you want perfect health. And then as far as the wine, too, I just did some research.
Yes.
And found out that there's parasites in wine.
I eat the parasite too. Give you proteins, right? No, anyway, listen, there is something, I drink wine, but my wine, it's organic. Then if there is the parasite, I will live with that. I eat garlic, so it kills the parasite, right? We're all going to die. At least I want to die of a parasite, not because of Monsanto or some other chemical garbage. Let me try to connect. This is my first time I'm doing this experiment. It's going to be a party. We're going to have a 4-people party, never done before, okay? So forgive me if it's going to happen something like catastrophic with this audio. Now we have Renzo Celani from Norway that I'm connecting him through Skype. 1 second, Renzo, stay there. Okay, Renzo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Wow, I made it. Right, great, Renzo. I'm so excited. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Luca. Hi, Kristen. And hi, Andy.
Hi there.
I hope you guys are well.
Okay, Renzo,
day.
I was
what time is it in Norway?
now it's 9:15.
Okay, tell us about you. Introduce yourself. Renzo sounds like not exactly a Viking name. It sounds like more like from Italy. Where are you from? Who are you, Renzo?
I'm born and grown up in Germany and left to Italy in 93. So in 95 I came back to Germany and I was a truck dealer with big and small trucks and buying them all over Europe and sending them to Italy. And I was just a normal industrial mechanic and doing my job and then selling and buying trucks. And suddenly my father, he got sick. In 99 he got a heart attack and doctors didn't find out what it was. And in 2000 he had other problems. In 2001 they gave him a diagnosis. And so this diagnosis was ALS, like Lou Gehrig's disease in America, motor neuron disease. And so in 2001, it was 6th of August, I went into the research because no doctor could find anything against these symptoms. And I call them symptoms because I don't say that Lou Gehrig's disease is a sickness. Yeah, there are no sicknesses like MS, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer. It's all symptoms because we're talking about intoxication, bacteria, traumas, we're talking about EMFs and all this stuff together. Like you said before, it must be something more than one thing, where it comes from. And so I became a researcher, and in 2003, people found out, like a private researcher, and people found out in 2003 that I have healing abilities. So I became a healer in 2003, 2004, and in 2007 I went to America because I was invited by a doctor, and he was actually in that year, he was the physician of the year in integrative medicine. And so I stood with him a few weeks, and so he told me to go in other research. So I began to research on biophotons. I began to work with these guys in Germany and the International Institute of Biophysics. And I went into brain research, and so I made my way just to try help people, and I stopped working. Today, if I work and I help people, it's not a work. It's more, this is my job, what I have to do in my life. And but working means that you are going somewhere and you're spending time where you don't want to be.
Renzo, let me interact 1 second with you. So I went to your website and I invite everybody to go there. It's renzocelani.com. I will spell it for you. RenzoCelani.com. And of course, you can go to lovegunsfreedom.com, today's show, and you will find the link also with Renzo. I have some questions because I'm learning a lot of things and many things I don't know, and I would like also to be sure everybody know more. I'm not afraid to ask when I don't know. Okay, what is a natural energy healer, and how did you find out about your abilities? Because that's how I read that what you are, your natural energy healer on your website. What does exactly mean?
People have made me this website, and the woman that actually made it for me, I helped her in Australia when I was in Australia, and she made this, and she took together all informations about my years before, from doctors, from researchers, and they say, in the nature there are people who are still awake, because every baby's got some abilities, and then we're gonna lose them, and so. In the nature, there are people, they like you coming in the room and somebody is there. Good, feel bad directly. And some people can have even other things, like you are talking about someone and I say, yeah, he's got right now headache. So this is coming just to me. There is just information coming to me. Wherever it comes from, we still
Get closer, please. Get closer to the microphone. I'm losing you a little bit. Just to interact with you, I see this is something that you post on your website. Your abilities has been scientifically proven at the International Institute of Biophysics in Neuss. I don't know if my pronunciation is right, in Germany. Researchers discover Renzo's powerful ability to dramatically change the number of photons and also photon distribution patterns within his surrounding environment simply through his own energetic powers. Translate it, please, in Italian English like I speak. What does it mean?
In a few words, we can say, I was able to take an empty glass and put it under a machine, and then thinking about the glass, filling it up with light, and the light was possible to measure it with a computer program, because light, biophotons, biological photons, which means living light, was coming out of the glass. And I could put my hands under it, and I could think that out of my hands was coming light, and this light was being measured by a machine. And this machine showed up in a computer with different patterns than ever before. So they tested about 4,000 people before me.
Wow.
And I was the first one that was measured in this way, that everything was totally changed, like 70% more light coming than before, than in the background test and in my hand test. So something was different, and so I didn't know anything about it. Otherwise, maybe it wouldn't have worked. But they asked me, "Can you try to bring out more light out of your hand?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" And so it happened,
Excellent. And by the way, the reason why today I brought you here is not even just about your background in healing, that I think, of course, we must talk about it, but it's something more important. Just to let you know, Kristen, Andy, and all the listeners, one day, a few weeks ago, I was on the way to the show here, and my cell phone rings. And I hear a voice that say, "I'm from Norway. My name is Renzo." So, oh my God, what's going on? I don't know you. Do I know each other? Anyway, do you remember, Renzo, when you called me, I was heading to the show?
Yeah, of course.
And you started to talk to me about, you found a little research job I did a few years ago in Mojave County, exactly about 3 years ago. We did a blood test of different residents in Mojave County, between Kingman, Golden Valley, and Bullhead, about the levels of barium and aluminum in our blood. The reason why we did that, because we believe that with the factor, this official global phenomenon called geoengineering, the modification of the weather, they also aka called chemtrails, and people, this is not just a show about chemtrails, but please start to open your brain. There is something going on in the sky that is not normal. Anyway, whatever falls down and is being proven in lab, there are elements of barium and salts of aluminum and salts of barium. Salts of barium and aluminum. Anyway, the story was very simple. After more than 15 people that we tested, about more than 85% of us, almost all of us, came back with results of barium levels at least 300 or 250% more than normal. I'm talking about some people also 500 or 600%. I mean, completely way. And the doctor, our local doctor, verified, said these levels of barium, they are completely abnormal. and we don't know what can happen to your health. Renzo, what do you think about this situation with the chemtrails in Europe, in America in general? What do you know?
We can say it's nearly everywhere. And it's happening that planes, when they fly over you, they don't even reach the highness which they should reach to get minus degrees and the humidity what they need to form a contrail. And we had some planes, they were just a few kilometers high, just a few miles, and they were spraying, and you could see that something was really, really, really strange. So one day I was coming back from Italy with my girlfriend, and we were sitting in a plane, and the company was Ryanair, and it's an Irish company. And so I looked down and I saw a big boat in the Adriatic Sea, and so we could see the line of the boat when it's driving. You can see the white stripe behind it, and suddenly I see our plane as a shadow. And behind the shadow of the plane, you could see the long contrail, yeah? But it was not a contrail, because then the stewardess came, and the stewardess said, hey, I said to her, hey, can you tell me how high we're flying? And she said, oh, it's about 10,000 meters. And I say, okay, and can you tell me what the temperature is? And she said, it's about 48 degrees minus. So this was okay, because then you can have a contrail behind you. And then I said, okay, the humidity, can you tell me how much humidity is in the air? And she said, no, I must ask the pilot, but I can do that. And so she went to the pilot. When she came back from the pilot has told her that we were flying with 890 kilometers per hour. It was 10,000 to 12,000 meters, depends over cities and over other areas, 48 degrees minus. And then he said something really important, 0% humidity. This means there can't be any stripe behind the plane. But we had a big one. And so I talked to her, and I said, hey, have you looked out of the window? I made a lot of photos, and I could see our plane. And so she said, yes, we know there is coming a lot of dirt out of our planes, but they are working on that. So that means she told me then that they are changing something in the fuel, so you don't see the stripe anymore so much, but the dirt will be all times there. And it's all over the world, and whatever is coming out, we don't know it, because we must fly up with a plane. This is the next project, yeah? We must fly up with a plane on 5,000 meters, on 10,000 meters, and measuring how much is in the air and in the humidity of aluminum, barium, strontium, and all the stuff. Because if you see only the rainwater coming down, you can only analyze something that's taken up and sent to a lab.
Okay, Renzo, one second. Get closer to your microphone. I'm losing you a little bit. Let me interact a little bit about the chemtrails. Krista, do you know anything about chemtrails or geoengineering in the sky?
Yes.
What do you know about it?
I just heard about all the toxins that are coming down.
Well, first of all, why you think this is happening? Why you think there are these airplanes, what they're spraying, in your opinion? What do you think you know?
Based on it sounds like they're trying to harm us.
Maybe officially, I try to play devil's advocate. Maybe they're just trying to save us. I'm just playing devil's advocate from, I don't know, they're saying this is official from the people that believe in global warming. Like, for example, there was also Al Gore a few days ago, I guess, last week, on some TV interviews. He was talking about that they are dumping 90 million, pounds every day of these metals or whatever to try to deflect the sun. Renzo, what do you know about this? Why do you think, first of all, they are doing these chemtrails, in your opinion? What is the official version that we can get?
My girlfriend said something maybe really important. It's like dumping waste. This is one side. The other one is depopulation. Yeah, it can be that they really try to harm us in this way. Because like you said before, the levels in the blood that you tested, I had this big problem as well. So I got really, really sick, and I came out of the big shit, we can say. But what the problem is, if you see that they are dumping all over Europe, they are flying from every big airport, and they're spraying from every small airport. They are changing with this stuff the quality in the air, so they can use it as a transmitter, we can say. Then they are harming your bodies, they are harming the animals and everything else. So this is a depopulation, we can say. The other one is with the acidity created. I know that in California it's different, because we talked about, with other researchers, we talked about the pH. And the pH in California was about 6.8. But up here, it happened that it was only 3.9, and this was a test by a lab. So in that moment, it changed even the soil and the aluminum coming out of the soil, the barium coming out of the soil, the toxicity of aluminum in your body becomes class 4. That means it's the same toxicity, like aluminum becomes the same toxic stuff like mercury. So in that moment, you have no chance. That means you can't detox as quick as you are breathing in the stuff. So you must take prevention and everything, like you said before, organic food and the stuff. But there is no organic food anymore if they spray on the food, you know.
Yes, and I would like to say something. You know, this is such a big picture. That's after my research. It is not just one aspect that we've been under siege. You know, for example, the chemtrails or whatever they are spraying, it does not just go after our body. That, of course, is the first thing. I remember a few years ago, 3 years ago, I started to get really tired. My muscle cramps. I used to have muscle legs, very heavy, foggy, forgetting things. Okay, I mean, if you do a research, and this is just the two elements that I found out, because I just test for those two elements, the barium, the salt of barium, and the aluminum. If your body is intoxicated with barium, the symptoms that you have, first of all, immune system goes down, and you start to have this sense of fatigue, okay? Same things with the aluminum, you start to have the classic cases of Alzheimer's, okay? Or how do you call it, Kristen? Alzheimer's. Okay, thank you, because sometimes my names are still hard to pronounce. But I was almost the symptoms of some sort of a fogginess that I'm a young guy. I mean, I'm not young, very young, but I'm 45. I used to be 42 or something like that. So I said, this is not possible. I forget everything. I started to look for solution, okay? First of all, the basic thing, when they spray heavy, like they've been doing today, I don't go jogging outside. First of all, I stay inside. I have HEPA filter, or tries to get the best filters in my rooms. Okay, so my house is a control environment. I try to control what I can control. Okay. Number two, I realize that there are some products, okay, that they detox your body. And maybe you can tell us a little bit. What is the product you would use to try to detox yourself?
There's two things that I recommend for you, Luca. First is a near-infrared sauna session. Okay, so they consist of red heat lamps, and they'll remove over 24 of toxic metals and hundreds of toxic chemicals from the body, as well as infections. And we also like coffee enemas that you can do on a daily basis to remove toxins from the liver and the colon. Okay,
I stick with coffee in my mouth. I appreciate that. That's, okay, listen. I'm just have something that I open to everything. There, I can do it. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to run around the house with a la supposta. Renzo, how do you call the supposta? The one that they try when you're sick, that you used to put in. You know what I mean? Anyway, I was a fight. I couldn't do that. I have trauma. Andy, are you still around? I hear you laughing.
Yes, I'm kind of rolling on the floor here. But
Andy, tell me about chemtrails. What do you think about chemtrails in few words?
Well, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Why did Monsanto develop a aluminum-resistant gene?
Exactly where I was going next. Good question. Renzo, tell us the answer. Renzo, go ahead. Answer, Renzo. You know that. I'm sure you know that answer.
With Monsanto and the stuff, we have some of the companies right now, even in Europe as well, like you say, Monsanto in America, which are like coming all times with a solution after a problem appears. Yeah, this is one thing. The other one is when you go and you test the soil today, then this is the answer maybe. When you go and test the soil today, a farmer, a good friend, yeah, he tested his grass because a problem was appearing. After a record harvest, a problem appeared. And it was like the grass was not growing anymore and it looked like yellow, brown, black, and somewhere it was still green. So then he took some of this grass after recommendation and he brought it in a lab. And he took a glass of water that I got from the rain and so some rainwater test. And so he appeared in that lab and they tested the grass for him. What came back was an analysis which showed aluminum and barium in the grass.
Wow.
But the amount...
Wow.
The amount is really important, and for all the listeners, this is really important. If you eat any meat or something, I love meat, yeah? I love my wine, I love my cigarettes. I'm the most dirtiest healer, we can say, but I love my life, and so I do that. Like you say, I like my wine. This dirty grass is the same in 1 year for a horse 8 kilo K a day, 365 days. It's like half a kilo of aluminum and 46 gram of barium.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this is totally toxic. And barium makes stiffness, and there is a syndrome called stiff man syndrome. And aluminum makes even more than Alzheimer's. We just heard from a documentary that they made a test with people. They were totally stiff and pain in the muscles. So they took a biopsy.
Yeah.
They took a piece out and they have sent it in a lab. And then they looked into it and they found a lot of mast cells. A mast cell is a cell which is eating dirt, like a death cell of yourself. It is eating a bacteria which was killed. It is eating metals or something else. So this stuff, the mast cells, were in this area where the pain was or the stiffness was a lot more than normal. So they have sent it in a lab. This lab has called back and said, do you know what is in your mast cells? And this guy said, no, tell me. And they say, they are full of aluminum.
Wow.
And it makes a side effect. They don't die anymore. That means even that the body does not want them to die in himself, because then it will release all the aluminum again.
Yes. I have
this cell
Go ahead.
staying in you. Yeah, these cells will just stay in you and continue making symptoms,
Yes. Anyway, I found out some products, try to detox because I understand it. One thing, as much as I am upset because, this is terrible, you think there is a place now in the world you can hide, there is no place. For a moment when I found out about chemtrails a few years ago, I said, okay, I can't live like that. I'm going to find a place in the world, a little place, maybe somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, that I'm going to live in peace. Nowhere. I went everywhere in Arizona. They're everywhere. Big cities, of course, they get bigger dose, but I see now that you tell me, even in Europe, in Oslo, Norway, I mean, I thought there was some sort of a, semi-happy place, not really because there are no guns allowed there and too much of a socialist, but, it sounds like a nice place, you mind your life and whatever. No. Even there, they spray you. Tell me about how much they're spraying right now in Oslo, please, or in Norway.
In the moment, you can't see anything because it's just cloudy and it's just sprayed and cloudy, all the time. So when we go out, like I'm like a little detector, yeah. I can suddenly, I don't know why, but I get tired, I get headache, or I get really aggressive. Yeah, depends maybe on the substance what is coming down. And I can feel even much more the impact of the solar radiation when the X-rays are going up, which are impacting the energy field of the Earth, or the electron flux is going down or up, and the proton flux is going down and up. And this may be a good theme to go into what is really happening with these nanoparticles, because everybody says it is nanoparticles what they are spraying. And when you know about these nanoparticles, it is a really bad thing, because you can put them under an electron microscope.
Yes.
And you can see that these nanoparticles just in water or in other liquids, you can make a positive field on the top, a positive charged field, and then you can shoot electrons on them, and they are forming. They are getting clusters. They are making, but not a round cluster or something. No, they're making chains. And you can see how they form in 2, in 3, in 5, in 10. And this stuff is happening in our bodies as well, because, like you said before, there is no filter. There is a filter that you're using, but there is no filter to keep your house clean. Nanoparticles are going through all filters.
You're right.
Yeah?
Nanotechnology, you're right, yes. And question, sorry, Renzo, sorry to interrupt you 1 second. And that's what I would like to say. There is things that we can say, things we cannot control. One thing we should all do, though, speak up. Because, it's so sad, after many proofs, first of all, our brain, our intelligence, our basic senses, when you see, for example, like in Mojave County, just talking about here, some days we have the most beautiful sky that we used to have always, blue sky. The traffic, airplane is very limited here, okay? We don't live in a big city. And then you see somehow out of the blue, as you were saying, Renzo, low altitude or lower altitude planes that you can see with naked eyes. Okay, you can see the bottom. I have photos and video that you can see the bottom of the opening, okay? And you see these jets of whatever they're spraying. I don't care even if it was just fuel jet. The JPL, this is a jet propellant, is been proven that is cancerogen, okay? So The point is something's going on. And then you try to approach a local official, state official, federal official, and you understand that you start to meet a wall. They want to talk about everything else, but they don't want to touch that. And this is so sad, because when people say, oh, the government would never do that, first of all, it's proven. I have a word just in Mojave County, for example, downwinders. Did you ever heard that word? Downwinders, people die of cancer. They're dead of cancer just because 60, 50, 40 years ago, they used to do nuclear experiment not that far from here. And the wind used to bring down all these elements. And they wanted to deny it at the time. Now they're giving you a little check of $1,000 or so just to make you feel good. Probably to pay what? For a prayer at the church. That's all you can get out of that money. But my point is, we've been declassified. We had declassified documents at least the last 70 years, just from the U.S. government. How many times the government or part of the government has been testing on U.S. citizens without their consent. Right, Andy? Are you there, Randy?
Yes, I am.
You tell me a little bit about that. Give me some input here.
Yeah, I've been watching here in Wisconsin this afternoon, too. We had partially blue skies, and now that the show's almost over, our sky's almost gone. They've been spraying us like crazy. But they have been doing this for years. I was aware of chemtrails back in the late 70s already. Wisconsin was one of the test states. Wisconsin has always been a test state for a lot of these government projects. And we've noticed that we don't have the same sunsets we used to. Maybe 3 or 4 days a year we have a clear day. The last time that we had a week and a half, almost 2 weeks of clear weather was when the planes were grounded right after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I work construction, so I work with a lot of men, and a lot of times people get tense. But those 2 weeks after 9/11, people were easier to work with.
Yeah, I you know what, you say something very important. When they have these activities and only God knows what they're spraying, all I think I can prove that I've been tested for barium and aluminum, and the barium was the very high elevation. And I will put also the copy of the test on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. Go check it out. And under activism page, I will put a YouTube video with all my tests. They are hard copies. It's not like just an opinion, please, people. I mean, I realize that I get really sensitive to getting more aggressive. I mean, I'm very peaceful, but I get short. Okay, I get irritated when I have these days that they spray a lot. I like to be left alone. Normally, I'm much more milder to talk with, and I really get irritated. And it's like a bee that you try to always harass. You something strange, something gets into you. I realize that, and maybe everybody's a different body type. I don't know, but something interesting. I'm talking about this aluminum and the patent that you were talking before. Renzo, I did an experiment a few years ago, 4 years ago. I grow my own vegetables, and I test, of course, regular heirloom organic seeds of zucchinis on one vase, and the next vase just next to each other, same soil, same water, okay, same environment. There was this hybrid that I bought from, I think, I don't know, some chain store, okay, GMO seeds, okay, GMO zucchinis. After a few weeks, start to get the flowers of both of them. After 1 month or so, one zucchini, the GMO zucchini, big zucchini coming out. The regular heirloom zucchini never had any zucchini. That's my regular experience. And when I found out that Monsanto patent a seed that is aluminum resistant, all I can say, there is something to connect the dots here. What do you think, Renzo, about it?
I think it's a big connection between Monsanto, Syngenta, Bayer in Germany, and all these big companies. They are, when you go back, you were talking in the hour before about IG Farben in Germany and Adolf Hitler about fluoridate water and this stuff. It is a story. Fluoridate water you use to make people dumb and infertile. And then to make them not like having a will to fight, you're using chloride, chlorine. So you have this in a high amount in America. You are going to put aluminum, which is normally staying in the soil, which is, the whole planet is aluminum. We can say is one of the biggest three guys in the planet. And if you use aluminum and you bring it out of the soil, it's something that no organism in the whole world is using. No man, no woman, no animal, no plant, no. But if you put aluminum in a certain acidity and in a certain range of nanometer size, so then it goes into the roots of the plants. And the problem is that on a certain place it will absorb from one side. It will absorb the like the photosynthesis that you need. Sorry that I'm jumping because my thoughts are 1,000 thoughts sometimes in the same moment. If you see that aluminum is making to collapse the plant, it's not a big collapse of the plant. It's just that the plant does not get any nutrition anymore, and the range of the nanometer in wavelengths of light is being absorbed. That means 230 to 260 nanometers is a certain kind of light. And this light does not reach anymore the plant to the point where the plant makes cell division. This is a really important thing.
Yes.
Because even our bodies today have a big problem with vitamin D deficit, and these problems are even in this same wavelengths what we are using now. And if they cover our skies, if they give you poison, all this stuff, it is the same with the plant. So if you are getting tired and chronic fatigue, you're getting stiff in your body. The same happens to the plants.
Renzo, what is your solution? If you could give to somebody, a regular person now, just listening, try to understand all this. Oh my God, these people must be crazy. Then they do their own research. You say, oh yes, maybe they do their own blood test. I would suggest that because normally when you go to the regular blood check, you never test really for barium, aluminum. It's not a typical test. You must request it. After you realize that there is a problem and we are under attack, this chemical attack or biological attack, and our health, we think we just try to cure the symptoms. Oh, I have headache. Oh, I'm tired. And the doctor give you the same garbage, whatever it is, that it doesn't really fix the problem. It just give you some sort of a sense of relief momentarily. What would be your basic advice, if you want to give an advice about how we could try to defend ourselves from this factor happening in the sky, this geoengineering or chemtrails?
You must know that I am a good friend with a well-known doctor in America, and he's a German guy, and he's treating people, and he's testing by ART, autonomic response testing. So you can do a lot of tests by this way, and it's not expensive. Yeah, this is number one, and you can test by a kind of kinesiology, we can say. The other one is you are not spending any money to a lab to find out if you have barium, if you have this stuff and whatever, but you are going directly to detox because everybody of us is full of shit, we can say.
Okay, watch the language. We are FCC control here. We are not on the internet. We are on live. Okay?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, no problem. It's still okay, but just don't get deeper. Go ahead, Renzo. Go ahead.
If you go and someone wants to use a kind of zeolite, zeolite is volcan ash, but you can't use any kind of zeolite. If you use zeolite in a nanoparticle form, then this zeolite will absorb the dirt coming into your body. It will absorb the dirt and will bring it into your cells. So this is not what we want. You need a zeolite which has got a certain size in powder form. So this stuff goes only over the stomach and everything, just in the blood, and absorbs dirt in the blood, like aluminum, barium, and other metals and neurotoxins, we can say. So zeolite in a clean form, you must have a special one, and it must have a special cage form, we call it like this, because I'm even a therapist in this way, of detoxing people. Then we use chlorella, a kind of chlorella which is really clean, but we need a little bit of the dirt to make chlorella understand that it has to absorb it. So we can, if people contact me, I can give them much more information. The third thing is a really important one, to wash the blood. There is possibilities in the world and people don't know it, and this stuff came out in 1980. You can wash your blood, and it's called apheresis. And this is not a plasmapherese where every plasma is, all the plasma is going to be changed in the people and to throw away your own plasma and you get plasma from 1,000 people. No, it is dirt of your body is going to be absorbed by a special filter, and then all the good stuff, minerals, vitamins and everything comes back to your own body.
Renzo, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you send me an email, whatever you just said, because it's a lot of information even to write down, and I will post it, of course, on the today's shows on lovegunsfreedom.com with also your direct link that you already have there to your site, so we can share your research or your experience, your personal, whatever you found out that works for you, so other people can, read it and make their own decisions. There would be some good information. Could you do that? Send me an email with all this, a brief email, whatever you told me about the different tips and ideas how we can defend our body from this intoxication of this heavy metal coming from hell.
Of course, I will send you an email, and then it's for free and for everybody. The other thing is, when you said about the food and the stuff, I made a test at home, and I made a little shelter, and this shelter was a plastic roof, like a few square meters. It's not big, and I've put some tomatoes under this roof and some salad, and some of the same stuff I put outside, just exposed to rain. And what happened is, everything what was exposed to rain died. We can say it died. And under the shelter, no big change, just the same.
Get closer
air.
to the microphone.
Everything was the same. It was the same air and everything. Only the water I used was well water for inside and outside. I used the same water, but it took some of the plants outside got some rain. They died. And under the shelter, I had on one tomato plant 101 tomatoes.
Wow.
And this is no joke. And this in Norway, when we are quite like in Alaska, you know what I mean? It's really north. It's not Italy or something where, okay, this is the soil is really good or something.
Yes.
I prepared the soil in the same way, inside and outside of the shelter. I did all the same things. But outside, some other things happened. You know, the nettles and other green stuff coming up. This was all growing like hell. And inside of the shelter, nothing of the green stuff came up, what I didn't want it in my little garden. It's after 3 years, it was still clean.
Wow.
So I don't need a lot of, we need greenhouses. This is to protect our food. We need greenhouses, and you must have a good well, because today with the acidity and the stuff, all the aluminum gets bioavailable for the water as well when you use it, or the barium and manganese and other stuff is coming really. We have to take care what we are doing and finding like new solutions, because yesterday was yesterday and today they are using different things, and we must find a new solution. But one thing I got told is a really nice thing: the bad is really fast, but the good was all times a little bit faster.
Excellent. Listen, I would like to remind to all the listeners, we are, the Skype connection from Norway with Mr. Renzo Celani. And sorry, sometimes the communication is not that clear, but the information is very important. And this is kind of an interesting international connection we have today. And we have Andy Mastrocola from Wisconsin. Andy, exactly what is the town you're calling from?
Ottawa.
Okay, and Andy, just because we're almost ready to wrap it up, I'd like to find solutions. We know Renzo, he was very good telling us some very practical things, how to detox our bodies, or at least how to defend our bodies, and also how to try to contain the danger of contamination into our food. I like the idea of the greenhouse. I have my own greenhouse, and that's the way I'm able now to grow food that is also, hopefully, beside the nanotechnology, at least I can remove the first layer of garbage coming down from the sky, and I have good vegetables growing the last few years. But now my point is, there is something more than just being on the defensive. We want to be on the attack. We need to expose what's going on, and since we're supposed to work as some sort of a system, it could be a republic, like in America we're supposed to be, in Europe they have their democracy or whatever. Still, these politicians that work for us, we need to go and tell them something. What should we do, in your opinion, to start to stop this nightmare coming down to us? What would be the first action to do today, tomorrow morning? Every one of us listening to the show, what would you do, Andy?
Start waking up your neighbors. Start waking up your friends. Get copies of DVDs, hand them out. Get to your local politicians. Get to your state politicians. Give them the same information. Education is the key. Even these people are dumbed down. They don't know what's going on around them. Even some of them that are involved with the programs themselves, they only are allowed to know so much of what they're involved in. They don't know the whole issue. So if you can get to these people one by one, but time is getting late. So the most important things are do a lot of things that Renzo was talking about. Use organic soil amendments in your soil with the zeolite and bentonite. The bentonite will grab these particles and it will grab the radiation that's in the air, because also a lot of Fukushima fallout all across the northern hemisphere that's affecting the gardens and the foods that we're eating. But another thing is to find yourself a source of local raw milk. Now, why do I want to stress raw milk here? Because the cows build antibodies to environmental toxins. It's their nature. So they pass those antibodies on in their milk. And there's lots of people who are involved in the chemtrail movement that are involved in the raw milk movement. Why? Because they're getting those antibodies to the aluminums, the bariums, and all the other toxins that are falling down out of the skies. These things land on the cows' backs. It lands in their food. They eat it. They build the immunity to those things, and they pass them on to their young or to us through the food we know as milk or raw cheese. And that's why it's important to have these things raw, because they cook all the good things out of them, and then people can get sick easier. So they want people that are sick. They want people to be dumbed down. It's part of the depopulation agenda. Like you mentioned before, the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, the reduction that they want in the next 10 years is horrendous. And the only way you can do it is to poison everybody. And it's been a long-term effort on their part already. And people are just starting to wake up now as to what's really in their food. You are what you eat, like you mentioned earlier, it's an old Greek saying. And yes, you are what you eat, because if you eat all these chemicals, you're going to be chemical balanced person. I mean, we can ask Kristen. You are what you eat, aren't you, Kristen?
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
And guys, we're almost getting close to the second hour, and there was a great show. I really appreciated you being here. And on top, kind of interesting, we had for the first time 4 people talking at the same time and making sense. I'm very proud of that today. Renzo from Norway with Skype, that was great. You, Andy, the last message before we close with you. Andy Mastrocola, please give us your website again and the last short message to our listeners.
The website is foodfreedomusa.org, and the most important message right now is that the farmer in Michigan, Mark Baker, they're setting him up for a fall. They're setting him up for maybe a false flag event there in Michigan. They're threatening him with heavy force. They're saying the only way they will come on his farm now is heavily armed, and he is a peaceful farmer. He is a veteran, but there has been a war on for our food, and they want to make an example of somebody, and have been fearing this day for a long time, and we have to hope and pray that it does not happen to this God-fearing man. And the only way we can stop that is by going to Mark's website, which is bakersgreenacres.com, and look it up. Give him all the support you can by prayers. If you have some money, he may need some help with money, because he is suing the Michigan DNR. So if you have more questions, you can go to the latest story on foodfreedomusa.org too.
Perfect. And also we will talk to him more accurately the next time. Probably I would like to get a hold of him and maybe have him on the show for the full hour. Andy, thank you very much, okay? Talk to you soon, and let's be in touch, my friend.
Ciao.
Ciao. Okay, now we have Renzo. Renzo, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, my friend, you are in Norway. It's almost time to go to sleep with you. Please give us again the last message for humanity, last message for your American brothers. Everybody's listening from all over the world, because also I'm going to be on the internet. Give me the last message, please.
2 little things to say. One is, if you want to change something in the world, there was all times the biggest force, and it's called a mother. Take the mothers of the kids and show them that the kids are getting poisoned, that the kids are getting sick, and the mother will fight as no man ever fought. And the other one is, before you see only the chemicals and the stuff, what you are drinking, what you're eating, what you're breathing in by chemtrails, you must see the big effect of the EMFs, electromagnetic waves and frequencies, what we are using by cell phones. So if you stop immediately...
Renzo, they cut me off. Thank you, Renzo. Stay in touch. Bye-bye. Okay, guys. Kristen, bye-bye. Talk to you next time. Love Guns Freedom with Luca Zanna. Go to lovegunsfreedom.com. Ciao.